Hi, I'm John. This is my show, An American Scheme, where I am proving that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's actual mother. So, this is Michael Jackson's actual bed. This bed that every single Michael Jackson MJ innocent person, Moonwalker fan person, they always say, oh, Michael Jackson's bed was so big. And it's like, and they always say, oh, his bedroom was 2 stories and stuff, right? Yeah, when you're a little kid, size has a total different reality comparison to what it is as an adult, right? Me as an adult, I'm like, okay, that bed, yeah, it's a good sized bed and shit, but I would never call that bed, like, I would never be saying, oh my God, his bed is so big. That would never be a thought in my head. It's just, okay, yeah, he's got a good sized bed. But to a child, you'd be like, oh, he's got this huge bed. Yeah, to a child, that can't come off that way. Things were totally different when I was a kid, in relation to size and stuff. Totally different, right? But I can't see any adult saying that that bed is so big that it warrants and justifies Michael's actions of sleeping in children with that bed. No, it does not. Now, we're going to get back to the bed and stuff. I wanted to show you this, though. This is this crazy comedian dude. This is like one of these gangsters, real like mafia gangster dude. I've seen him doing stuff where he's done every drug you can imagine. He's been in jail and prison. He's done like so much. He's got one of these guys with a crazy life, this Joey Diaz guy, right? And he's going to be talking about, what he's going to mention here is about songs. And he's going to talk about listening to songs, how still, even at this late age in his life, that he constantly is hearing new things in songs, right? And this is one of the things about Michael Jackson's music, and what I talk about, it's art. And there's always more to learn. There's always more feelings and sentiments to be had from your interpretations of this music, because as you live your life and you gain knowledge, you'll see that that alters your opinion and your views about what you're hearing in the song. It's constantly evolving. That's why this stuff is so great, and why it's so respected by really, really highly intellectual people and stuff, right? So listen to what he says about, because he doesn't want to do song interpretations. He says like that. He says, because the songs are constantly, I'm always hearing new shit, right? And this is like one of the things that I say is like, okay, to all Michael Jackson fans out there, think about the song Billie Jean. How long ago was it that you came up with the idea that Billie Jean is about a groupie claiming that Michael Jackson's the father of her child? How long ago was it that you came up with that idea? And did it ever change? Have you always heard that song exactly the same way from your interpretation of what you heard, what you had when you first were exposed to it, and your interpretations? Did they ever change over time? And what I'm trying to show you is, like, right there it shows that you people have a flaw. You guys are not hearing the music, and this is why I say you guys are fake fans, because there's no way in hell that you could actually understand how great Michael Jackson's music is and still have the same interpretations of the song that you had 20 years ago. Okay, if you're doing that, you got a problem. You're not real. That's why I always tell you you're fake. You're not real. You're fake fans. You're stupid. That's why we say that shit. So now here, listen to this.
There's so much good music, Joe.
So much good music.
It's so, like, you get caught up with one thing. During the pandemic, I got back into music. And I bought vinyl. I got into vinyl again. I fucking love it, you know? And it's so weird how an album will take you back. Like, I got an album now, it'll take me back for a week. Like, I'll play the album when I'm writing, when I'm doing shit, you know?
Take you back to those days.
Like, but you also hear things. That's why I don't like doing music reviews and shit, because I learn more about the music the more I listen to it. Like, every time I put on, like, I don't put on Led Zeppelin no more, but you're in your car, you're headed back, you crank it up, you always hear something you haven't heard and go, wow.
I used to always...
Right? See that? What he's saying? And you see, like, that guy, like I said, that guy's had those life experience and stuff, and it's like, but do you hear how intellectual he is, and how when he's thinking, he's in deep thought and deep understanding and stuff, right? And he's able to relate that in the conversation. He's able to convey the message of his experience and stuff, right? The power of music, and how it's constantly transforming and stuff. It doesn't stay the same. It's not that way. And so when you people keep screaming at me, what you're screaming at me is that you keep telling me that I'm not allowed to think about music, and I'm not allowed to alter my perception of my experience and my understanding of what this music is. You want me stuck in a stupid little box, and I have to think the same way I thought when I was 10 years old? What the fuck is that stupid shit? Just because you guys' brains don't work and you can't understand, that's why I constantly am yelling at you, you're not real fans. You don't even appreciate what music is. You can't even tell the difference between Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson. I mean, that's just like, dude, you guys are pathetic fucking motherfuckers. You Michael Jackson fans are horrible, horrible people and shit, right? And because they're such horrible people, they keep coming up with all these excuses and all these reasons to validate Michael Jackson's actions of sleeping in beds with children. And they say two of the biggest things that they say is that Michael Jackson's bed was so big. Well, there it is. That's his bed. Here, I'll play this a little bit more. We know this is his bed in his bedroom because this picture right here of what they're going to show, that's called it's Michael Jackson's, it's the Last Supper. I think it had a different name for it. I actually saw it the other day, what the actual name was. But it's an interpretation of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper of Christ, the Last Supper before the day he gets crucified on the cross. That's what this picture is about, right? So Michael Jackson did an interpretation of it, or Michael's playing the role of Jesus, right? And that's the picture that hung above his bed. This is the understanding of what I know, is that picture is above his bed, and there it is. That's the pic. This is his bed. That's his bedroom. Let me play this a little bit. Okay, so there's the picture they're showing you. See, Michael is the Jesus and then all the other characters, right? That's the painting. That's the painting above his bed, right? So that's his bed and his bedroom. And now, one of the things about, the thing is that house, the Neverland Ranch, that's an older house. The architecture of it is built different than what a modern house would be, because modern houses are built with big, vaulted ceilings, big high ceilings, and wide open spaces, right? They're not separated like what this house would be. This is an older style of design. They designed it this way. So this room doesn't even look that big to me. And I was looking at a video that actually had this clip in it. There was a video, it was a cool video. It was doing a comparison. They were doing a tour of Michael Jackson's house when it was empty, and they would show you the part of the house, and then they would show you a footage of when the house was being lived with Michael Jackson, and he had everything in there. And one of the things that stuck out to me is Michael Jackson owned a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. It's almost like a hoarder, that you would go into the rooms, and so it's one of these things that people, when they talk about oh, Michael's had such a big house, and it's well, the reality of the square footage of what was actually usable would have been much smaller, because he had so much possessions taking up the space in that house. You would go into the rooms and it was you had to squeeze through here, squeeze through there, That's how it was in his house, because he had so many possessions in there. There was so much stuff. So it's not this big, it's not like that. It was different. It's not like what people describe it as and stuff, right? And when they say it's 2 stories, and it's yeah, there's room in there and stuff, but the rooms are not these gigantic rooms. And when they show the bathrooms, this is a thing. I was thinking Michael Jackson's bathroom must be, I was thinking his bathroom was probably, because of the way people talk about it, right? So I was thinking, yeah, his bathroom's probably the size of my bedroom. But when they showed his bathroom, it's dude, his bathroom's not even the size of my bathroom. And it's come on. I mean, I live in a 1,700 square foot house and shit, right? And I got a nice master bedroom and a nice bathroom. It's good size and shit, right? But my room should not even be comparable. My room's about that size. My room's as big as that, And now I know there's more to his room and stuff, but still, he should have this massive bedroom with this huge wall of windows. I mean, it should be massive. If it was a modern house, it would be more looking that way. But see, that's the kind of thing too, where Michael's older, and in the culture and the environment of what he lived, this is what he felt normal with, was older construction and stuff, right? It wasn't that he needed the modern stuff. It wasn't that way. He liked this is what home felt like to him. These are the kind of things that happen, the different environments of where you grow in and what makes you feel comfortable and stuff, right? So this bed in no way justifies Michael having such a big bed that the kids could just pile in. Yeah, the kids could pile in, but you're sleeping with the kids. This is not a bed where you're... Okay, now, if the bed was twice that size, then I would say he's got this huge bed where he could sleep over here and the kids could be over there and they're not even touching each other. Then I would say yes, he had a huge bed, and now I get it. The bed was so large that it had so much room that there was no problem actually when you're saying sleeping in the bed. Then I would say if there was 2 of those beds next to each other, I would say yes. that's not sleeping in bed with them. That's Michael sleeping over here and the kids are sleeping over there. Just because it's technically a bed, then I would say that does not warrant that title of sleeping in a bed if the bed was twice the size of this. But when you see this bed, it's like, no. When Michael says he would pile into the bed with the kids and they would sleep, that means he's in the bed sleeping with kids. Right? So that argument of what people say and the argument about his room being 2 stories, he's got so much freaking clutter, and that house is an older style designed house. It's not these wide open spaces. So I don't see any justification of him having such a big room that there's so much space. I don't see it. It doesn't look that way to me and stuff, right? So now what I'm trying to relate here, the message is that your people's arguments of trying to validate Michael Jackson's experience, you're trying to validate and justify it, is that these things, these excuses of what you make, like the large bed or the 2-story room, that's not an excuse. Those are not valid excuses to justify his behavior. And what I say is that the alternative explanation of what was taking place here is that Michael Jackson is a pedophile. So in order to overcome the pedophile appearance of what was going on here, in order to understand that, you've got to have something else, because your guys' excuses don't work. And it doesn't matter if Michael Jackson was a pedophile or not a pedophile. The fact of the matter is that he looks like a pedophile. He behaved like a pedophile, and he has been accused of being a pedophile. And you people cannot just throw that under the rug and act like it doesn't exist. The facts of the case shows that there was something wrong here. And your guys' explanation and excuses does not invalidate the reality of the evidence and the facts that we do have. But there is another alternative story. And that's that Michael Jackson was an abandoned child. And that Michael Jackson was told by Diana Ross when he's about 10 years old, when the Jacksons signed to Motown and they moved to LA, and they're staying with Diana Ross, and that's when she tells him, that's what the song Billie Jean is about. It's not what you people think it's about. It's about something completely different, right? My story actually has power because it's true. People will understand my story, and they then can relate my story as Michael Jackson's real life experience. Now they can understand what was taking place with Michael and the children, and they can understand that it's not sexual, that it was happening because he was a damaged child. He was an abandoned child. He was longing for the closeness of that family connection, the innocence. That's a hard word to say and stuff, right? But that's what he was longing for. And you can see it when you go back and you actually look at it from the proper lens of who he actually was. Now we can have an understanding. It still does not completely justify his actions and his behavior, but we have a true understanding of what it is, and we truly know that it was not sexual. And that is the real thing that people are concerned about. People really are not concerned. Okay, Michael's sleeping in bed. That's okay, whatever. That's not a big deal. As long as there's no sex going on, nobody really has a problem with that. Not really, as long as we know it's not sexual and stuff, right? But we don't want to ever give any appearance and condone this kind of activity, because we know that if you condone this kind of activity, then the people that start doing the same thing, they will be molesting children. And you don't want to allow those children to be susceptible to actual molesters and stuff. And they can use this as an excuse to say it's okay, and no, it's not okay. So that's how it goes. Is we do not accept Michael's behavior. But what we can do is have an understanding of it, and we can clarify the true nature, that it was not sexual. And when people see the truth and have a real understanding, that's how Michael Jackson gets freed from these pedophile allegations. The only way you can free him and actually do anything to help him is you have to tell the truth. And it's only the truth that the people will be able to accept, because there is nobody out there that thinks Michael Jackson's a pedophile that will ever accept your excuse that that bed is so big that justifies it. That is not acceptable. Nobody will ever. And like I said, I'm a Michael Jackson defender, and I am telling you, that does not impress me. That bed being so big, that does not impress me, and I do not accept that as an excuse that lets him off the hook of sleeping in the bed with children. No. Like I said, if that bed was twice the size of that and the bedroom was 3 times the size of that, if it was an environment that was just totally wide open, modern construction, the bed is just massive upon massive, then I'd be like, oh, okay, I can see now where you could pile a bunch of kids in there and they wouldn't even be touching each other. Especially like Michael's over on this side, you would have a huge space where you could fit 5 more kids in the bed and they wouldn't even be touching each other. Yeah, I could see that, but not in this bed. No, not in that bed. If Michael's in that bed with a couple other kids, they're sleeping in the bed together. And that's never acceptable. No one is ever going to accept that stuff. And any Michael Jackson fans that think that you're justifying Michael Jackson's behavior by trying to push this kind of BS evidence on us and stuff, you're frauds. Your case has no merit to it. It's easily overcome and discredited, and which means that people are going to think more that Michael Jackson's a pedophile because they're going to say, look at the fans. They're giving us fake evidence and they're trying to force us into believing their bullshit thoughts. You're only reinforcing the people's facts that they know Michael's a pedophile because they say, look at his fans. The fans won't even acknowledge the things that he was doing was wrong. And so you people are the problem. The fans that try and say that this was okay, you are the problem. You are just proving to all the people that think Michael's a pedophile, you're just proving to them that he is a pedophile. And the reason he was able to get away with it because his fans were refused to ever look at him and notice what was so obvious right in front of their face. Okay? I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.